and welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another weekend edition of the StarCraft Cup. Welcome back to the LiuLi Cup, LiuLi Cup 2024 Grand Finals for Qualifier, the qualifier for the European and the Americas region. I'm of course your VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all. We just held the Asia qualifier a couple of days ago. We did not cast it live. We were covering another event at the time, but did occur over the weekend, I believe, and there are still 2 qualifiers left. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. Again, this is a big event. This is a big 7,000 USD tournament, big online tournament as well, and the qualifiers are underway. Many players have already been invited. We'll be going over that down the line, I'm sure. We'll be going over all the invited players. For now, we're focusing on our first match, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of El Dorado, we have the Danish Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Bing Bong Exports. It is Anticore. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Polish Terran player, the Blue Terran. It is Spirit. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It's Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck in the chat, as predictions are open for the next minute or so. So best of luck and good luck in your predictions while they are available. And again, we're settling into our first round matchup. We're here in the round of 16. As a reminder as well, 3 players will make it through into the main event tonight. 2 players from the upper half of the bracket and 1 player from the bottom half, as there is a bronze match. There is a 3rd place match available, so best of luck. We have some heavy hitters. We have players like Spirit, we have Laser, we have Mana, we have Estrella, we have Skillus, and many others as well. We'll get into it. Again, we'll be going over the bracket itself after this initial series. For now, we have our ZVT. And I'll be honest, despite the fact that Anticore has been competing for many years at this point, I don't think I've ever had the luxury of casting him. I think maybe I've casted a clan war or a team league match with Bing Bong Exports in the past. I think maybe the qualifiers. I'm thinking of the qualifiers of WTL, maybe last season, the season before that. I do think I recall casting Bing Bong Exports back then, but outside of that, don't think I've had the luxury of casting Anticore. So I'm ready, I'm excited, I'm curious what they have to offer. I'm going to be curious here. For now, of course, Spirit is one of the heavy favorites to make a deep run in this qualifier. One of the favorites to potentially qualify as well. I mean, again, as I mentioned before, there are some big names here, and I do rate Spirit quite highly amongst them. Again, Spirit, he is a top 3, arguably top 2 Terran in Europe, alongside Clem, alongside Hero Marine. For now, is going to be dancing across the map with these links. It picks off 1. It's 1 link so far, is going to be turned away, and welcome one and all, of course, to El Dorado. El Dorado is a map that is very commonly vetoed. We rarely get to experience El Dorado at the competitive level, but we do have it here in Game 1. Interesting. I'm curious as to the purpose of that. I'm curious if Anticore has some spicy builds ready for this as well. Has opted to go for the linear 3rd base for the time being. Has not mined through the mineral patches yet. There are goal bases available, and you can try to take these goal bases and expand towards your opponent, but we do see Anticore expanding away instead for the time being. Is going to take that linear 3rd. Likewise, back at home, we have Spirit going to be going for his 3rd CC into Banshee, or into 111, into that starport, into, I would imagine, an add-on swap. There we go. Tech Lab is on the way. So just Heli and Banshee here out of Spirit. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild so far. Just an economic opener from our Terran player. Again, typically Spirit, he isn't really one to be too aggressive in this matchup. In general, Spirit, he's more of an economic player. Does typically play towards the mid to late game. Isn't really one to go for too many aggressive moves early on. We'll see if Anticore can keep up. But now just getting into link speed, droning up, saturating spaces. The Queens are keeping up with the Hellions for the time being. And we'll see what Spirit can get done once the Banshee hits the field. Airlord Scout does confirm not just the CC, but also the Starport, the Research and Tech Lab as well. Anticore, he will confirm everything in the main. And behind this, going for an early lair. That is a, what, 410? Even earlier than that. So an early lair timing here from Anticore. Curious as to what that's going to be for. We'll see how many gases are going to be taken. This could be for, oh, okay, earlier Bailey Nest as well. Hidden Bailey Nest. I was going to say this could be for earlier gases into something like 2-base Muta. We could see earlier gases into Link Queen Nidus. The Baneling Nest is going to be an interesting one, and we'll see how aggressive Anticore is going to be. So now the Hellions that do poke in, so far going to be zoned away. Trying to catch out one of the Queens. There's no chance to use the Queen. One more volley. Oh, and it will not go down. The Lings, they will zone away. And so far, Anticore does hold. It doesn't lose any Queens yet. Massing out more Lings. Cutting workers at 2 base saturation. The 3rd base is barely saturated. There we go. Now droning up a little bit further. Anticore just getting ready here for the Hellion aggression. Fast Baneling speed here out of Anticore. No Evo chambers. No 1-1. Just going to be straight up Ling Bane. And there we go. 16 more Lings on the way. That's what I was waiting for. Anticore is getting another expansion, but it's massing up a lot of Lings and soon to be Rainlings as well. And I would imagine Anticore is going for a Bane Bust. I would imagine he's just going to be going for an all-in. And going to be hitting with fast Bane speed. Hellions, they die 4. They catch, or they try to catch a Queen Clutch. And as Queen goes down. And you can see here Anticore trying to bait the army onto creep. He's going for the tide. Yeah, he does commit. Hellions, they go for the mineral line. Ooh, they just surface area. Hellions should be going down, but they trade as best they can. 12 drones going to be falling. And now we have to go for the counterattack. That's Baneling speed. It's still a ways away. 30 Lings in production. Again, there's no saturation. There's no saturation here at the 3rd base. Anticore is going for the Bane Bust. And can Spirit hold? Can he survive? Banshees doing what they can, clearing up creep. But again, there are no more Hellions. There are some Marines, and there's a tank that's halfway done. But the goal here should be to bust into the natural and to go for the kill. And here comes the Ling Bane. I mean, I keep saying Banelings. No Banelings yet. Looks like they're going to be morphed in across the map. Scan reveals the Baneling Nest. Big moment here for Spirit. Now he knows. He is setting up, and here we go. 21 Banelings on the way. It's all or nothing for Anticore. But he still has to wait a little bit longer, and he's giving Spirit some time, some crucial time here to build up. We have a bunker thrown down here at the 3rd. Tank on the high ground. And we'll see if this is going to be enough. I mean, Spirit is down in army supply. There is potential. Lings, they go for the 3rd. They get eyes on the setup. Going for the mineral line, picking up a couple of SCVs, or at least denying some mining time. Oh, they get maybe 1? Not even. No single SCV goes down, and Anticore, where do we head? Towards the natural, towards the 3rd. Going for a split push. Going for the bunker. Banelings do crash in. The army gets dragged out into the open. The tanks are exposed. He gets 1. 1 tank gets surrounded. The other as well. Gonna go down. And Anticore, has he done it? The Bio Army forced back massive connections. Marines gonna be going down, but it's not about the 3rd base. It's gonna be about the natural. He has to go for the kill. He has to go for the throat. Banelings, they need to connect. They shut down the wall. But we're running out of Banelings. It's just purely Ling. Marines are falling, getting into the middle line. There is 1 tank. Up. Can he get the tank? He's trying. No repair. No repair. The tank is going to go down. Oh, the hot pickup. Clutch micro there out of Spirit. Marines, they are trickling out, and it looks like Spirit, he's going to hold. He defends the natural. Will bleed out 18 SCVs. But Spirit, he's still ahead. He's still ahead in workers, ahead in economy. We'll clean this up. I mean, Anticore did a lot of damage, but at last he needed to do more. Anticore is still all in. And now there's a tank on the high ground. The wall is being rebuilt. Plenty of fire, plenty of Marines. 2nd tank on the low ground as well. And the longer this goes on, the worse it is for Anticore, as he's falling further behind. So we're going in. There's too many Banelings, not enough Lings. Yeah, GG gets called, and Spirit, he will hold. And Spirit will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Spirit will take a lead in the series. Again, there was potential, is what I want to emphasize. There was definitely potential for Anticore. Unfortunately, he was slowed down by losing 12 workers back at home to the initial to the initial Hellion aggression. And likewise, he did have to wait for a little bit longer for the Banelings. It did take a while for him to really get things going. And by the time he did, Spirit, he did have enough to defend. Unfortunately, Anticore just barely did not have enough to break the defensive line there of Spirit. It was close, though. It was close. GG. GG, well played. Spirit will take a lead, and we'll see if Spirit can close it out, or if Anticore can fight back and force the ace match. As we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. Just catching up with that. Shema, papi, Shema. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Good to see you all. Also, oh my god, I apologize, but at the start of the stream, of course, big shout out to Sort of. He did, of course, give us a massive raid, so thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. If you're still around, hope you're doing well, and get some rest, papi. Get some rest. I know it's getting quite late in the land of Korea, but thank you so much. Again, do you see Sando in the chat? I stand. The Polski boys as well. Shema. Mr. Calculon. Everyone else as well, as we're settling into our next game. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Danish Zerg player down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back, representing Ping Pong Exports. It is Anticore. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Polish Terran player, the Red Terran, leading the series 1-0. It is Spirit. We go. Against Spirit, he was able to recognize what was going on. If you recall, he was able to poke into the natural, confirm there was nothing there. Then he scanned the main. With that scan, it did confirm the earlier lair, the Baneling nest, the Baneling upgrade that was on the way. Spirit was able to set up in time. Despite that, it was still close. It was still quite like a clutch defense. If only there were a couple more Banelings remaining, if Anticore was maybe able to cripple the economy, then maybe could have been able to macro out of it, but alas, barely not enough. Now we're settling into game 2, going to be loading into a much more standard map here, into ley lines. Ley lines does have a quite defendable natural, defendable third base, shorter rush distance by ground. Could see a back and forth here. I'm sure that Anticore has another plan coming into this. Obviously, I mean, he's fully aware that he's going to be the underdog coming into this series, which is why I'm sure he did choose to go for the all-in, especially on El Dorado, where the rush distance by ground is shorter, so you do have a lot more potential there with that kind of aggressive play. But here on ley lines, less so, and I'm curious to see how Anticore will adjust. We'll keep an eye out for the lair timing. As a reminder, last game he went for a 4:10 lair timing, 4:10, which is very early. It was actually earlier than that. It was like 4 minutes and like 5 seconds, 6 seconds, something like that. So very early there timing led to the early Baneling speed and into the early Bane bust, into the all-in. Here we'll see if he does go for an earlier lair once again, or any other earlier tech. That would be the sign of things to come. Likewise, after game 1, I'm sure Spirit is also on notice. I'm sure he's also that much more wary about his opponent, as the Reaper is going to dip in. So far, Anticore is making extra lings. Interesting, getting up to 6. Trading with the Reaper. And 1 ling is going to go down. In the end, Anticore, he will defend, and did just invest into extra lings here just to be safe. Does put him in a slightly more awkward position, but only slightly. As back at home, Spirit is getting a third CC before Starport. Once again, economic opener out of Spirit. Nothing too crazy. I mean, there's no reason for Spirit to deviate. He should be going into another Starport, into an add-on swap, into Banshee production. We'll see if he deviates as well. Out of curiosity, why did Anticore drop a 4th last game? Was it for extra larva? I would assume it was just for extra larva, especially considering, if you remember, Anticore, he lost queens in his defense, so he was lacking injects. He was on the lower queen count, so I would imagine it was just for larva. I would imagine. So far, he is building up. Likewise, there's that add-on swap, again, 3rd CC into Banshee. So once again, economic standard opener, the same opener, same build that we saw last game out of Spirits, just 2 games in a row. Meanwhile, Anticore just droning up, keeping up with the aggression, keeping up with the Hellion movement, and making sure his mineral lines are kept safe and sound. And there it is! Here at the 4-minute mark, we have an early Roach Warren. Okay, Anticore is going to be embracing Roach play this time. No, not as much of an earlier lair. This time Roaches instead. And as Spirit pokes in, he might get eyes on this. I mean, based on the Roach Warren positioning, this doesn't look like an all-in. Otherwise, it would be thrown down further back, hidden in the main base or hidden at the natural. This is more to set up some SimCity to wall off and to get into early Roaches for, I would imagine, defensive play. So Roaches into 3-base saturation into a macro game, I would imagine here out of Anticore. We'll see if he does commit a little bit harder. I see he's going to be droning. The first wave of Roaches are on the way. Spores are setting up for the Banshee defense. Still no lair. And there we go. The lair just now starting up is going to be saturating, is going to be droning, is going to be getting and gearing up into the mid game. So again, just a more defensive opener here out of Anticore. Just zoning away the Hellions with the Roaches. Again, Roaches are quite beefy. They're quite solid here in the early game. So we have been seeing a rise in popularity of Roach-based openers in ZVT. And from here, we can go in a couple of different directions. We could double down and commit into a maxed out like Roach Ravager Army, or like a 1-1 timing, maybe even a 2-2 timing. Likewise, this can also lead into Roach Ravager into Hydra Lurker play in the late game. This can lead into Ling Bane Roach Ravager instead. There are a couple of different compositions that Anticore can go for. But now the Banshees, they do poke in. Likewise, Spirit is still trying to keep an eye here on the army. Looking for a way in. Heads into the main, picks off a couple of workers. Back at home, getting to his 5-rack setup. Oh, the Hellions, they threaten the third base. They go for the dive. Yeah, they go into the third, and the middle line is going to get roasted. Drone's going to be going down. There are some Roaches in position. It's going to be 5 drones so far, and Spirit, he backs up. He does escape. Does get away. Now, what is most interesting to me here is that the lair is done, and Anticore, he has not researched Roach speed. And now it makes sense. There's no Roach speed here. It looks like, again, only the defensive play here with the Roaches, and is investing into melee upgrades instead. And a Hydra Den. Okay, that I was not expecting. So I was leaning towards, okay, maybe he's just going to go Ling Bane Roach Ravager. We are not again. Oh, the Roach is out of position. Drone's going to be going down. Oh my god, once again, 15 workers going to be falling. The mineral line gets roasted. This is becoming far too much. Far too much damage. 22 drones going down as they do line up towards the end. The entire mineral line does fall. And that is brutal. That is borderline game-ending damage. As a reminder, the purpose of these Roaches was to defend, was to make sure that that did not happen. Especially considering that we're not investing into Roach speed. Like, we're not committing here into any kind of Roach play. So in the end, these Roaches, they weren't really worth it. Okay, now we get Roach speed now on the way alongside Hydra speed. We're taking in a couple different directions. And here comes Spirit. Spirit coming in with a 1-2 punch. He crippled the economy. And he got forced to re-drone. Goes for the dive. Takes out 1, 2, 3 queens go down. 3 queens do fall. And the hatchery as well. There's just no saving the space. There's just not enough to defend. The hatchery is going to fall. And from here, Spirit, he can keep going. Oh, as Anticore gets supply blocked. That was not the time. Again, there's no Banelings, there's no Ravagers, it's just Roachling. It's just purely Roachling, not even Queens to defend, as they did already go down. And from here, Spirit, he can stim and win. GG gets called as he snowballs out of control, and Spirit will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played, Spirit. He will claim the series. Shout out to Anticore. Game 1 especially was quite close, was quite intense. An intense back and forth between Spirit and Anticore. Here in game number 2, Spirit, he attempted to go for a safe opener with Roaches, leading eventually into Ling Bane Hydra, but he didn't quite get away with it in the end. Spirit, he was so opportunistic with those Hellions, he was able to find a way in. He was able to abuse that third base. Unfortunately, the Roach Queen was not in position. Spirit found a way in. He found a way, and he did find himself with a very nice lead. Again, because he killed 22 drones with that run by, he was able to force his opponent to reinvest into more workers, into more drones. Did mean that he had that much less to defend to get ready for the follow-up push for the move out that ended the game. GG. GG, well played. Very nicely done here by Spirits. My condolences to Anticore, but regardless, I do hope to see more of him in the future, and that is going to lead us into our next series. !B in the chat. If you guys want to have a look at the back yourselves, let's switch our scenes over and catch up together.